Hey everybody, what's up? Sorry about that. If you could come on earlier today, and I was trying to get this to play in my computer, but I'm having problems with this the microphone. So hopefully you guys can hear me now. Hi Janet. Can you guys all hear me on this one? I hope on my phone. Okay. Okay. Hopefully I can get some more people on here today. How are you guys all doing? I'm gonna see if I can get people on here from my Facebook page. Hopefully I can. I'm just gonna type it in here. I'm kind of running late and doing all this stuff, so I'm not really on YouTube that much because I don't know much about it. So I'm kind of illiterate. I guess you have to start learning how to do it. Illiterate that way. That makes sense. Hi, Angel Taylor. I'm good. 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 It's raining outside here in Billings, Montana. I live in Laurel. It's just been raining quite a bit here. Okay, give me 1 second. I just gotta post this on my Facebook page. So I don't have many. I mean, I have people that subscribed on here, but I don't have many people like really following me on here because I don't get on here that often. I'm thinking maybe I should do like a something different than I do on my other pages, but I haven't figured out what I want to do on this one yet. I'm not sure how to get many followers on here too. Anybody have any questions for me today? Where are you from? Missouri. Nice. I'm gonna see how many people I can get on here. If not, then I might go on. I'm gonna try my Instagram and see if I have any luck on that one. Hopefully you'll get more people in here. We'll see. Hey everybody, anybody's going on? Anybody have any questions for me today? Want to ask me? I'm just hanging out here, trying to understand how to do YouTube because I don't get on here very often. But I'm here to answer questions if anybody has questions for me. Married to a narcissist and you need help. Okay. Well, first thing, as you know, the best thing to get away from them is to never to get away as far as you can. But so I'm not doing like future readings. I'm not doing real readings right now. But I can tell you what I do know about narcissistic people. They're evil people, and I would suggest for people like that, I would, if you have a pen and paper ready, it can help you a little bit. It's basically something. It's what is it called? What is trying to think what it's called again. It's just this thing is binding, and they talk about in the Bible it's okay to bind evil spirits in people. And when I connect with my spirit guide about this one time, I said, how can I, because I had a narcissist family member kept bugging me, and they told me the best thing to do was to bind them. And so what I did was I said, I bind all evil spirits that reside in, and I say their first and last name in your head, not out loud, in the name of Jesus Christ, in the blood of Jesus Christ. So I say it 3 times, and 3 times is very powerful. Say, I bind all evil spirits that reside in, and then you say their first and last name, and the blood of Jesus Christ. And say it 3 times, and imagine blood being poured on them. Now, what's going to happen is that person's going to leave you alone for a while, but that person needs to go to somebody else, unfortunately, to bother them. So, that's something you got to be cautious with. But it's only temporary. It's not permanent. So it's only gonna. So when it happens again, you have to say it in your head 3 times, and it should help. I've had a lot of people tell me a lot of success about it. I feel trapped. Jenna, try to do that for a little bit. Maybe that will help you. And then I would try to start praying more. Praying's going to help you get your strength so you can leave him. Narcissist is all about control and power. It's very, in my opinion, it's demonic. Because these people have more than one spirit within them. And they know that. That's what keeps them where they're at. But try that binding technique and see if it works. It's only temporary. Hey, Crystal Parsons, what's up? How you guys all doing right now? Anybody want to ask me questions? You're welcome, Janet. I can go on and on about narcissists. I'm not a big fan of them. I don't hate many people, but I don't like. For me, I don't know if it's the word hate, but it's really close to hate when I think of these kind of people. Because these people only think of themselves. They don't think of other people. They are very entitled. They want power. They know they have an issue, but they always deny responsibility. They have other people do their dirty work while they do smear campaigns on the innocent people. Oh, I know all about them. I was in grade school and I had to go to resource class because I was ADHD and they didn't diagnose me at that age. So I'd have to leave my regular class for a couple hours a day just to go to there for math or English or something. And every year I'd go in. I mean, I had this teacher, the same resource teacher in grade school for like 3 years, and it was horrible. And because she was a narcissist, she would dress up to the nines. She would, when there was other adults around, she acted like she was a perfect teacher. But when the door was closed, she was very abusive to the kids, not only physically, but but verbally as well, and mentally, I would say. And she enjoyed it. She had these big long nails on her fingers, and she would, this is like maybe the mid early '80s, and her hair was always big curly hair. She would have to wear these button shirts and be a button all the way here, where you can almost see her cleavage right there, and always wearing perfume, and she's just dressed almost halfway provocative. She knew what she was doing, and so the kids, when they weren't listening, she had these long nails, and she'd drive them right into your chest. Hello, Nicole. And you'd go home and you'd see these bruises on your chest because she hit you like that with her, and it was very strong. Yeah, I'm starting to see a lot more coming around more than ever now. It's creepy, and they're so annoying. They bother me. I mean, and that was my first experience with these narcissistic people. So I'd go home and tell my mom what she was doing, and then she'd be nice for a week or two, and then she'd start up again. And one time, I think I've said this on some other page, there was a kid sitting in that class, and she had this big old Webster dictionary, and she went like this, like a football. I watched her, and she threw it so hard it hit him in the ear. The kid was like in the 3rd grade, and almost made him cry. And she was just always telling these kids they were stupid and where they came from, they're not going to amount to anything. And these people are the worst kind of people they're out there. And that was my first experience with them. And my whole life I've had to deal with them off and on, but it was not as many as I'm starting to see now. Like even when I do this kind of work online, they come to me. I attract them somehow. They must think I'm very passive, or they think I'm weak, and I'm not. And I call them on their crap, and then I block them because I don't want to feed into them. I've had one in my class one time, and I had to kick her out. She was trying to act like she was better than everybody, and in the class we had to work with each other, amongst readings, and she would always try to say, "Oh, that's not true, not even close," and just throw these people off. Like she was always trying to be better than everybody. So she was kicked out of my class, and she was very narcissistic. And there's more to that story I don't want to get into, but she was not a very good person. My stepmother, she was a narcissistic person. She got me and my dad fighting. We don't talk anymore. I took my whole life for me to meet my dad, and that was like 3 or 4 years ago. And when I finally met him, we were great when we were together. Nobody was around. But when she came around, he acted different, and she controlled everything about him, And I remember my dad telling me different things sometimes. Like he used to like riding his motorbike, years ago, and she controlled him so he couldn't ride the motorbike anymore with his friends. He used to go like hanging out and golf, and she would always call him to the house and make excuses, so he quit doing that. My daughter had this resource lady saying, "Oh shoot, I missed that." Same lady saying, "I often feel she's targeted the Manor because students because they spoke different languages and I thought differently. That's than strict structures. Well, if that's the resource teacher I had, she was from Butte, Montana, and her name was Judy Jonart. Now that lady right there, she was later on she became the head superintendent of the Butte School District. I'm sure she manipulated her way to get in there. It wasn't because of her brains, if that makes sense. I forgot what I was talking about before then. No, so my dad, my stepmom would always control my dad and stuff, and she would yell at him a lot, and he wouldn't say anything because he's a quiet guy, but she would just really put him down, and then she would look right at me when she was doing it, like I was supposed to, like she was trained to see if I was going to get a response from it. It was just very toxic and abusive, but she was very fake and phony to me, very inappropriate. Like we'd have like normal conversations, and then somewhere in the middle, she would say weird things like, my sons would always come to me if they were going to have sex. And I'm like, what? And she goes, oh, yeah. Like before they had sex, they came to me and they told me things like, and all this stuff. And I'm like, I didn't want to hear that. Who wants to hear that? Just weird. Just lady was just strange. But I mean, there's more to that story. I can go on and on. But I eventually divorced myself from that family. It was just too weird for me. I couldn't. It was so fake and phony. I was good in that family until I decided to go full time with this kind of work, and then they kind of like shoved me off a little bit, which I felt that was coming, because in their mind, my dad is a pastor, which is interesting because you never see a cross in his house, not even a crucifix, and his wife, the narcissist, she wants to tell everybody he's a pastor, but every time I used to go there on weekends in Arizona, I would never see them going to church. I think I went to one church with them. That was because she was putting on she was, I don't know, helping these girls doing this dance thing for a Christmas recital or something. That's the only time I've been to church with them. So, I don't know. It was just really strange family, and I'm kind of glad I'm away from it. And narcissists are just bad people. But the only way to get rid of them, for me, I can sense when they're around. I just try not to say too much private. I mean, anything private in my life to them. I kind of play the gray rock if I have to, which means just tell them just tell them boring stuff. Don't tell them everything personal about your life, because eventually they'll use that against you. They like to do that, and it's part of their smear campaign. Janet, that's what he wants you to feel like. You gotta pray and ask God for strength, and you gotta get out of that situation with him. And the more and when you do, you're gonna find yourself, and you're gonna be a lot more happier. That's a way for you to have to figure this one out. Like nobody can go in and swoop in and get you out of that relationship with him because he's a narcissist. So you're gonna have to find a way of pulling yourself out of that. You gotta be strong. You're gonna have to look within yourself where your strength is and go for it. The longer you wait with that person, the more it gets worse. Narcissists never get better. They get worse as they get older. And the older they get, the meaner they get because they lose their charms. And nobody really takes them seriously, and they just become a-holes. It's basically what they are. And they enjoy what they're doing. And you don't deserve to be with somebody that's like that. There's hope. You just gotta reach out and look for it within you too. There were probably a lot of red flags when you were dating this guy before you married him. You don't have a big mouth, and you don't beat yourself up like that. Just these people are just they want you to feel like you're crazy. The level they are allowed to get by with others' allowance and unawareness is what causes of so many walking amongst us. Keeping them distance by interaction, it kills their ego. Exactly, Angel. And the thing that bothers me is people will say, well, oh yeah, when you try to tell people this person's a narcissist, this person's doing that, that person's doing this, um, it's it's so frustrating because everybody walks on eggshells because they know they're like that, and they rather, and that's what the problem is in this society. When there's narcissistic people, people walk on eggshells around them, and because they're getting something out of it. Because the narcissist might be giving them money, they might be giving them little favors and stuff, and so that they're supplying each other, and it's something really dark and diabolic. And people can't even look within their souls to say, is this right or wrong? What am I doing something wrong? Well, yeah, you're doing something wrong when you're around a narcissist. When you're abating and whatever that is, what they want you to do. It's evil. You can't do that. You can't stand up. You can't stick up for a narcissist anymore. That's like standing up for a demon. They like that. It's demonic. And the more that you're going to stand right behind the narcissist, a lot of us, we're going to, it's not going to do anything for you, not your soul or anything. The best thing to do is get away from them. God would want you to get away from them. God wouldn't want you to be in a relationship like that. I guarantee it. That's like marrying King Harold. Who would want to? These people are evil. When they know what they're doing, they know how to manipulate. They're very abusive. They're bad people. This is the honest to God truth. My stepmom, when I first started when I first started getting to know my dad, she would call me all the time. I lived in Montana, she lived in Arizona, and she would always talk about just anything, just a bit. She was getting more out of me, and every time I kept telling her stuff, I kept seeing this little like snake or lizard head, and I knew something was up. I didn't think much of it. Well, that was a warning sign, and I didn't pick up on it. And so after I kind of divorced that side of the family in Arizona, I decided to, my family in Montana accepted me. They all know who I am, and they were cool with me up here, my mom's side of the family. But my stepmom couldn't get it. I couldn't get it out of my head. It was really weird. It's like always haunted my head. So I asked my guide what I should do, and he told me I need to do a binding spell. And he talks about that in the Bible. There's binding spells you can do to bind evil spirits, and that's what I did. I said I bind all evil spirits because I don't know how many's in her. I bind all evil spirits that reside in Brenda Wolf in the blood of Jesus Christ. I said it 3 times in my head. And I imagined the blood being poured on her. And at that second, I felt like a release. Well, I didn't have anything, she wasn't in my head as much for it seemed like 4 or 5 months, and then it came back. So my guide says that spell is just only temporary, but it will keep her from bothering you. So it does work. It worked for me, and it's worked for other people, many other people I've told this to, who are being bothered by a narcissist, whether it be a family member, a spouse, or friend, or whatever it is. It works for them. So it's only temporary because eventually, unfortunately, they have to go to somebody else and do that too. But if it gives you that sense of peace for that meaning at that time, then do it. These people are very evil, and they don't care who they're going after, and that's what they do. I wish society would look within themselves when they're around a narcissist instead of standing up for them, or or ignoring other people that are saying, "Watch out for this person." I wish those people can look at themselves and say, "I'm doing. Where's my soul at? Why am I protecting this narcissist? That's not right." Look at the victims. How do you know if you have a guide? I need to know my guide. Everybody's got a guide. You just got to connect with a medium or a psychic, get a reading from them. I'm not doing free readings right now. I do those on my other pages, but not here. I'm just here to answer questions. Because when I'm doing readings, I can't stop to answer questions in between because I get migraines. So I'm here just to answer like a lot of spiritual questions people normally would have that I don't really normally get to. Oh, you guys, I was just gonna say, you guys see this shirt right here? Okay, so this shirt right here, it's an emblem, and it's the Saint Benedict medal. It's on this shirt. It's very powerful. So I always wear the Saint Benedict medal around my neck with the crucifix. I don't know if you guys ever heard. Let's see right here. I got like a golden one too with that too, but I got it blessed. And what it does is it's very protective against anything that's evil or dark. And priests use these on when they do exorcisms, and people put these on their window sills and over their door frames and around their property. It does protect that. If you ever read, if you ever type in the benefits of Saint Benedict metal, you'll be surprised. It does a lot of stuff to help people. So it's not just only just to ward off evil stuff. It does a lot of other things too. It's a miraculous metal. So this is all Latin. I think part of it says, Satan, you drink the poison. Hi, Michelle. How are you doing? Hey, you guys subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I appreciate that. But Janet, if I, you don't need a spirit guide to tell you that, because I guarantee you, if I were to connect with your spirit guide, he'd probably say almost exactly the same thing I'm saying, because I hear it so much from people that want to get away from narcissistic people. It's just, the messages are very much similar, not if not the same. You just got to look within yourself and try to get out. You're stronger than you think. Sometimes we have lessons in this life that we got to learn. And if we don't learn them, we keep repeating them. And you don't want to go back to the next life if you haven't learned this lesson. If you have to get, what do you call, if God decides to reincarnate you one day, you don't want to come back to this again and have to keep relearning it. It's got to be horrible having to be around narcissists all the time. I think there should be things against these people. I really do. There's got to be something to be done, but they get away with so much, and people allow it to happen. That's what's really wrong about this world. They allow the bulliness, the mean talking, the just being evil to people, and they get away. And a lot of people get away with it. Does a spirit guide protect you while you sleep? No, your angels protect you when you sleep. Spirit guides are just what they do. They just guide you. Some angels are spirit guides, but mostly angels, your guardian angels, will protect you if you ask for prayers every night. But you have to understand also that when people are not close to God and they're far away from God, a lot of times they're not going to be protected. And the people that usually are praying every day, the ones that believe their faith is strong within God, are usually the ones more protected. So it's all about where your faith is as well. You're welcome. I'm not trying to sound preachy, but I know it sounds like it, but that's basically the truth. And I've talked about that too, about sleep paralysis, what that does. It's ugly in human nature that's allowing it. It will never end here on this earth. I don't think it won't, because, like I said, King Harold was known as being the biggest narcissist. You have Jezebel. She's a narcissist. You have all these people. I mean, these people even existed in the Old Testament, in the New Testament. Yeah, they're always going to be around. But we have to learn how to protect ourselves and stay away from it. We have to see the red flags of these people and not be involved with them anymore. Some people have to they do go to therapy, so they see that they have they keep going back into these relationships with these people, and the therapist will find a way to find out what these triggers are so they do not go back. So sometimes therapy in the long run would also help people that have been through their narcissistic abuse, and it also helps you talk about it, so you're not stuck with it and you can understand it better. So my dad, he knows his wife is like this, and so he allows her to be this way. And he's a pastor, but he's very passive, and so she controls everything. So in a relationship with a narcissist, there's always one passive person and there's one dominant person. You can't, there have been cases where two narcissistic people do get married, but they get married just for the benefit of what they're gaining from each other. If the husband's really good looking, he's got money and power, she's going to marry him, even though she's a narcissist. He's looking at her because she's beautiful, and she's got whatever, maybe some land or some more money, and he's going to marry her. And that's how they do it. It's not about love. That's all about what can I get from the other person for a while. And when you get two narcissists that are teaming up together, it might, that's scary. I love the Lord. He is my Savior, and I believe that. I pray all the time. I'm just in limbo. Janet, you'll get. It's just you just have to look within yourself. Like I said, nobody's gonna pull you out of that. You have to pull yourself out yourself of that relationship. You have to be strong, and then you gotta when you break yourself away from your husband that's a narcissist, you get a divorce, and you block him. You block every person that has ties with him. Because if you don't, they're all going to be like flying monkeys, and they're going to go back to the evil witch, which is him, and tell him everything that you're telling them, and then you're going to have a smear campaign. So it's going to be tough work you got to do. But I would suggest for you, Janet, well, when you decide, if you decide to leave him, is get therapy, and the therapist will discuss that with you and how to get yourself away from him, and but make sure you block him and do that spell binding I told you, because that's also going to help you in the long run as well. And just keep your faith in God. I believe in God 100%. My higher power will always protect me and my family. Yeah, it's true. And people ask me about sleep paralysis too, and that's another one. I've had sleep paralysis, and when I had it was because I wasn't close to God at the time either. But people that usually suffer from sleep paralysis, usually, if you ask them about where their faith is with the God, or if they believe or if they're praying, it's really, really vague, or it's barely. They'll say, "I haven't been praying in a long time or years." They'll tell me this story all the time, and the guides will always tell me, it's not. It's not what the doctors say it is. You're half asleep and half awake, because it's all a theory. It hasn't been proven yet. So what happens is there are things that we don't see out there that I don't know, we don't see things, just things we don't. And there's things that can sniff people out that aren't with the light, or not with God, I guess. And then what happens is, when that happens, they get tortured in their sleep. Some people get taken advantage. I can't say the word in here. Get taken advantage of when they're sleeping, by these entities. And some people are just held down, and they're just holding you down and causing you a lot of pain and a lot of suffering and stuff. And it keeps going on, and you don't know why. Well, when I went to church, and then I started going to church a little bit more, and it finally stopped. And when I asked my guide about that, he said that's what it is. It's because your faith wasn't with God at the time. So sleep paralysis is one of the reasons, one way that happens with people being there not close to the Creator. Somebody's asking, what do I think about what's going on in Israel? It's not good. Everybody's always thinking about the end times, and I've asked my guides, and even my guides, angels don't know. My guides don't know when the end times are going to be. But if it keeps progressing, and this war keeps getting longer, then I'm going to start looking. I mean, for me, I'm going to get my heads up. I'm going to be a little concerned, I think. The only thing I'm really going to be worried about is with Israel takes over that dome. If that makes sense. If they take over that dome, then I know that's when the time is going to be. Because that's a prophecy of the dome being taken by Israel. I remember what the dome is called. The one that the Palestinian people they're always in, and they worship in there. Because that dome is part of what is it called? Israeli's land at the time. I think it was under King Harold, or not King Harold, but King what's his name? I can't remember the Bible again. I can't think of his name. I think King Solomon was part of that land, but it's going to get crazy. I think it's going to get really weird lately. I don't know. And if it's not the end times, it's reminding us that this is what's going to happen if we don't change our ways. Definitely. This is a wake up call for a lot of us who are Christian and and who believe in faith. That if we don't pay attention, these are warning signs. And if you haven't been noticing the last 10 years, some weird stuff has been going on that hasn't gone on in our past. I mean, I wouldn't say the last 10 years, maybe 5 or 7 years. I start thinking about things like that on my head all the time. I think about when that alien landed in that yard, and it was all caught on tape. It was all verified. I think about those what do you call those metal obelisks that were showing up and then just disappeared. All that weird news that was going on. I think about where this country is right now, how divided it is, and how it's not work. I mean, back in the day, the Republicans and Democrats used to try to work with each other. Now it's like they're tearing each other apart, and it's not should never be that way, and it gets crazy on both ends. And so, for our country, I think that's what I'm kind of looking at, stuff like that. But then we look within our own faith. Look at that. I was watching the news the other day, and like I think three of my churches in my hometown closed up because there's not enough priests. Well, there's not enough priests because nobody's going to church. Everybody's fallen from grace. That's a sign, in my opinion, that we're going somewhere. Um, when you start seeing the churches closing up, that's not good. I don't care what religion it is. When people start falling from faith, it's not a good sign. The signs are around us. If you look within it, you look around, you're going to see some signs. I'm not trying to scare people. I don't know the future on this because they won't let me see it. But I look at this stuff all the time, and I'm wondering, what's next? What's going to happen next? The Bible warns us all the time that there's always going to be signs of war, and not to be worried about that because that doesn't mean it's going to be the end times. So you can't always think about every war that happens is going to be the end times. What started this was a terrorist group, but now it seems like other countries might be getting involved, unfortunately, which is kind of scary in itself if that's the case. But let's just hope that it's nothing happens. Because I remember in the Mideast when we had those wars, people were thinking the same thing. Everybody's hoping, well, no, this is going to be the end of the times, but it was never the end times. I just, I'm sorry if you watch the news, if you look around, you hear, you see things, you'll see the signs of what's going to happen. If you know your Bible, there's just things that are going on that I can't explain. I don't know. Only God knows. Even as mediums, we can't get in touch with a lot of that stuff. I just know that there are signs, and we just right now, in my opinion, this is a wake-up call for everybody to maybe look within ourselves, start praying more, getting that relationship going every day, because I don't know where this war is going to go. It can go different directions. Now that we have countries getting involved in this is not a good sign. And I'm hoping that it never gets to that point. None of us do. But it's just a sign of times where people aren't being with God and they're falling from grace. So in the Bible, they don't want them when they bomb Israel. That's what they started in the beginning. They've been bombing Israel for a long time. They've been fighting off and on. The Iron Dome that shoots the rockets that coming at the city. And the Iron Dome. Yeah. But it's just more than just that war that's going on. But look at the world. Look at that. Look at Russia invading. It's hard for me to think sometimes. Invading that. What is it called? And my brain is dead today. I swear, like when I do a lot of readings, I think I get like that brain fog half the time. So that's where I'm at. When I do that's exactly where I'm at when I do readings. My brain gets, and I just feel like it's like I'm getting Alzheimer's at times, which I know I'm not. But it's like, what the heck? What was I just thinking? But there's just things going on all the time. There's things that you look around, and it's not just the war. It's like I said, the UFO stuff that's going on, the weird news, politics, the religious. Look at the religious people. There are a lot of it. The churches aren't. People in the churches right now, all they do want to do is get up on the pulpit and preach politics, and they want to scare people with hell, and tell certain people they're not loved by God, you're going to go to hell. That's not the way church used to be. The church used to always mostly focus on the New Testament and how Jesus lived and how he accepted everybody. Now it's gotten to a point where it becomes political. When you have politics and the government, one of them's going to conflict with the other, or they're going to influence the other. And that's what happens in this country. That's why I always felt like, why can't we be like Canada, keep them separate? They're both two separate entities. One's going to influence the other, and it's never good. They're both corrupt. We all know that. It doesn't matter what religion you are. In your head, if you think your religion is the best religion, it's not. Every religion is corrupt. And that's what happens. Some religions are just good about hiding their secrets, and others are. But if you go into family past, there's always something that's going on in religion. It's not just the Catholics that are doing it. It's the Methodists, it's the Lutherans, they're all doing it. Some families are just getting paid off more than others are to shut their mouths about it. And some get more threats. It's an evil world we're living in. I mean, and I think about this stuff. I mean, I don't want to live in fear, but when you see this stuff on the news, you wonder about it, and you start seeing the signs everywhere, and then I think, what's going on? You know, people aren't the same like they used to be either. Look at the signs right there. I'm seeing more narcissistic people come out than I have ever seen in my entire life in the last 8 years. I swear, it's crazy. People think they can get away with being mean to people and just treating people like dirt and bullying them and smear campaigns and all this stuff. Like, where's the love? Where's the compassion? You're seeing more homeless shelters. You're seeing more tent cities and people that are on drugs more, and there's no compassion for them. Everybody wants to blame the homeless person, the lady on welfare, but there's no compassion. You complain because the government might be taking a little money out of your taxes because they're for welfare. Why? Why would you complain about that? We don't look within ourselves. Where's your empathy? Where's your sympathy at? People don't like to hear that, so I'll probably lose people on this live, but that's all right. I talk about it all the time. It just tells me a lot about those kind of people, who they are too. The person that just left when I just talked about that, I wonder if that was one of those kind of people. They don't like to look within themselves. Well, Satan has a lot involved in it. I guarantee it. I wouldn't say Satan's doing it all. We all have free will, but we're all getting influenced. And some of us are not stronger than the others, I guess. We have to take responsibility for our own actions and what we choose and what we, and who we want to be around with, and what we decide to do, who we vote for, and how we feel about things. That's because the world has started moving more towards everything being for show. It's exactly what's going on. So you'll start seeing a lot more people, and if you haven't started seeing it now, more people into politics like it's a religion. You'll start seeing that more. And then you have the news, different news groups that will manipulate stuff, and different politicians that can lie and manipulate lies to people. So people are getting deceived all the time over the news and politicians, and you think that your party's the innocent one. Guarantee it, it's not. They're all evil. They'll have an agenda, and when you start talking politics like it's your religion, then that's between you and God. It's not very godly, and God always says that there should never be no God before me. It's just he's a very jealous God. So when we start doing that, we're going to start looking within ourselves again. You start following a president that belittles people, that tells them they're dirt, that makes fun of people, that bullies people. It's always about him, and lies to people and deceives people. And God asks you why you just decide to choose that person. You can't lie to God. He already knows your soul. I don't care who you vote for, but I'm just saying he's going to know your soul more than me. I've been with several, and I have show up in a home possible as they walk on. But I will never stand behind a president that's a narcissist, whether it be Democrat or Republican. I don't care what anybody says, because that's just like standing up for somebody evil. Why would I? If I knew that person and how they talked was narcissistic and wrong and evil, why would I stand there? See, I'm losing people because I'm talking about who they know I'm talking about. So they don't want to look within themselves. And I speak the truth, and they don't like it. I'm saying both parties are evil, but I'm just saying they're just talking about that one president. That president wouldn't be where he's at if he wasn't being investigated. He's not an angel. I would never vote for that guy. If you're thinking of the world to come to the end, that would be the guy that would be more than happy to help get it to that point. You need strength. You got to keep your faith in God more. That's the biggest strength you're going to get. You got to keep your faith. Thank you. But I'm not going to worry about the end times. I see it on the news, and But I see things, a lot of different things happening all the time. Well, hopefully we get it. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know the future on that yet either. I don't want to know. But I've seen mediums or psychics predict presidents, and when they get it wrong, it ruins their credibility. So I'll never do that. I'm not going to tell you who I know who's going to be president, who's not. But I don't know if this is the beginning of 7-year tribulation. I don't know. I don't know. It's just the Bible says we just got to watch the signs, I guess, and we got to try to make things better. But they're signs, and I don't know if these are signs that are just warning us to make to get us to where we need to be, and we're not paying attention. I don't know. I think, in my opinion, I think that's what's going on. We had the pandemic that just happened, and it affected everybody. So we'll see. I just feel like this world has gotten more darker, just seems to be more, like, I don't know. For me, it just seems like it's, maybe it's darker. It's getting worse. It hasn't seemed to getting better. I want it to get better, but it's not. Everybody wants to live in a pretend life and stuff. It's just weird. I don't know how to explain it, but things, it's all up to us if we want to make a change. But you have to understand Israel's a very powerful country, even though it seems like a small country. It's got very advanced technology and nuclear war stuff, and to fight other, they're really powerful. They can defend, basically, they can defend themselves. They don't really need a lot of help, but because we're NATO, we do help to help them. And that's good because they would help us in wars as well. And, but when you see stuff like that, it wakens you up a little bit. A lot of people are asleep until they start seeing this war, and then all of a sudden it wakes them up a little bit. And hopefully that makes them look within themselves and their faith in God. But we'll see. It's sad that you have to have something like that happen to wake people up, though. I remember, like, in 9/11 when that happened. I remember exactly where I was at. So my friend woke me up, and I woke up and I saw that one tower was already burning up, and then I saw live when the other one hit the tower. And at that moment, I just was in shock because I thought this is the end of the world, because you don't know what you're thinking, you don't know what you're seeing. And then all of a sudden, that plane over Pennsylvania went down. That was like a nightmare. It's like you're just wondering what's going to happen next. Is somebody taking over this world or what? So when you start seeing those things, you don't want to live in that fear anymore. The fear is all about that. You have to try to live without the fear. Sometimes it's okay to turn off the TV. It's okay to just flip over on your screens on your face on your phones, so you don't have to watch that stuff. Don't let it get to you, because it will. That stuff will get to you, and you're going to start feeling paranoid. You're going to get scared. You're going to worry a lot. It's nothing. God tells us not to worry about those things, right? If anything, let it be a wake-up call to some of you. Maybe that's what it needed to do. Like 9/11, it woke a lot of people up. Get back with God. Start praying more. If you don't know God, you haven't prayed more. Find a church that you like. You don't have to go religiously. Just go once in a while. Just get that you can feel God when you go into a church. It's a different feeling than you can go in any other building. It's the Holy Spirit. You just get that. It's a good way to connect, and go every once in a while, and then go from there. Read the New Testament. Start getting to know God more. It's basically all it is. Save your soul. And then work, and then live like Jesus lived. Help other people. Be selfless, not selfish. And don't expect anything out of it when you're helping other people. Don't record it. Just do it because it's out of your heart. Not because you want something from it. We're, a lot of us, I'm a sinner, we're all sinners, right? None of us are perfect, but we gotta stop worrying about it. God doesn't want us to worry. If it was meant to be, then it's meant to be. But we can't sit there and live our lives in fear. Even though I'm a psychic medium, I don't know the future on this stuff. I'll never pretend to. I'm not going to say this is what's going to happen. I know those mediums or psychics out there that are predicting this right now. They're off their rocker. I don't believe it. I won't believe it. There's some of them right now doing the doom and gloom. I haven't even been on here to find out or reading any of what they're writing or on their page about. Honestly, I don't. But some of these mediums or psychics will look at this and they'll take that and they'll play with it so they can get more followers. God talks about, we don't know the end days. But if you fall for that fear, those other mediums and psychics that are predicting something, the doom and gloom, they're not real mediums. Real mediums don't do doom and gloom. We try to make it, there's always positive messages in it. They don't do the fear, the doom and gloom. That's something occult. That's dark. You don't follow that. Mediums talk about fate. They talk about positive things. They talk about God. There's always something, there's always something better than the dark stuff, the fear. The fear is a lie. So you just gotta be faithful and believe in God. That's what it's all about. And helping each other out. Don't let the news get to you, or it will. Don't listen to people when they're talking about it. Change the subject or walk away. You don't have to respond. You don't have to absorb it. You can block it out if you want. It's okay to get knowledge about it once in a while, but you don't need to live in it. Turn the news on 24/7 to see what's going to happen next. It's just going to cause worry. You just live your life the best you can. That's all you can do. There's always a plan for all of us. As long as you're doing what you need to be doing is right, you're not making any bad choices, and keep your faith in God, things work itself out. It always does. We've all learned that. But like I said before, there are signs. Just keep an eye on them, but don't worry about what's going on. Just keep an eye on the signs. Hopefully people are awoken and they don't stay where they were before. And it's going to be a good day. Every day is going to be good. We're all alive. We're all healthy, hopefully, and things get better. Just pray for that. Just pray for the people on both sides who are fighting. People are losing their sons, their daughters, their family over that. It doesn't matter what religion it is. Just pray for all of them. They all need it. They're all God's people. We're all from God, made in God's image. So we're all sitting there fighting over what land and religion. It's really, you think after all these years you'd be done with it, but no, it's never going to get done. But I've been on here a whole hour. I'm gonna get off for a little bit, you guys. I gotta start my day. But I'll probably try to stop on here every once in a while more. I try to get this page going because I don't know much about YouTube. I usually use TikTok and Facebook, but maybe I'll try to get out here more and just see what I can do. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't. But I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for stopping by though and hanging out. See you guys later.